we are leaders in every like artist like platform that we play on or whatever. So we have to continue to just set a standard. And also, like, I know it's hard, but also we got to make sacrifices too, because I know, like, on the gig that I was on, the keyboard player quit because of the pay. But because she quit, it it took the management team to be like, oh wait, this is serious, because they know she was good at what she do. So then it's kind of like, all right, let's give her that pay. But once it was time for her to actually move on and the next person come in, they actually got the money that is for them. Like, so it's like you have to really just, to me, like, take those sacrifices and just be like, when stuff ain't right, I'm just not gonna do the gig. Like, sometimes, like, you just have to, those sacrifices, to me. So I mean, because I want the best
It's,
for whoever's coming up next, so.
I think a really huge part of it is like knowing your worth, like really knowing your worth, believing it, and honestly believing it to the point where you are willing to walk away if somebody mistreats you. And whether it's money, whether it's just like being in a toxic environment, whether it's people not treating you right, like you really have to know your worth. And it's really easy to be like, oh shit, this is a arena tour. This is so big. And then someone offers you garbage pay. And it's really easy to be like, but this is going to be really great for my resume. And I've been in that situation where, and it took some negotiating, but I actually walked away and told them I wasn't going to do a gig because the pay was so low. And then I was told that they would find someone who would do it for that low amount. And then they called me back like 10 minutes later and were like, okay, fine, what do you want? And it's like, that was because I knew my worth. And you'd be surprised how much, when you know your worth and you are willing to walk away, they will come after you. Like, they'll come after you and be like, oh, wait, okay, fine, we're sorry. Okay, you actually do deserve this. And then the more that happens, the more people come back and do that. That's how, like, women in general are going to start uplifting each other if we're, like, willing to make the sacrifices, like Michel'Le said. Like, if you honestly own it, like, we're gonna start scaring people into paying us what we want, or they're gonna lose us. And we're like, we have a lot to offer these people, and we have a lot to offer these shows and these artists. And I think they're finally starting to realize it, because the fact that we are willing to make these sacrifices and we're willing to bounce if they're not going to do whatever it is that, like, we deserve, that's something that's really important. And to any up and coming musician, especially the women out there, please, please, please do not sacrifice your worth. Like, yes, we pay our dues, but there is a limit. And that's something that's really important that I think the younger generation should make sure that, they bring with them when they come into this industry. So
I think that that's something that I struggle with when I first started, because they'll make it seem like you're missing out on something, or use the E word, like, this is exposure, and while I was preparing for Coachella, I actually got a call, and I wasn't gonna say their name, but I think it's important. I was on a tour or they asked me to do a tour with Designer, and literally tried to get me to do a month tour for $500 a week. And I was thinking, like, I make way more back home playing in the club, playing in church. And at the time, I was working about 5 jobs doing music, and I made way more back home. And I tried to explain that to him. But because, we were still in the process of rehearsing, nobody knew what we were rehearsing for. So he had the nerve to text me back, oh, well, Beyonce doesn't even play her band that much. And I'm sitting there like, oh, really? I didn't respond, nothing. But I know if I wasn't doing Coachella, if I was back home and he mentioned exposure and all that kind of stuff, I probably would have fell for it, thinking $500 a week and exposure on tour with this rapper was going to do something for me. And it took me so long to learn that just post your stuff on social media. Don't worry about exposure. Expose yourself. But that's something I struggle with so much. And I've lost so much money because I was scared to ask for it. I was scared to negotiate, and I was scared that I would lose this exposure.
That's such an important point, Ari. Like just the idea of exposure. Expose yourself. I love that you said that, because that's it. You expose yourself. Now there is validity for people who are starting out with saying yes to any gig because of just the practice. And so if you're just starting out and you don't have to worry about your economics, like if you're like 17, a teenager who lives with your parents or something like that, and you just need to get out and play, sure. But once you become a professional, exposure is up to you, not up to somebody else. And that's where we all need to learn the art of negotiation. Because sometimes there's going to be situations where you want to take a gig that the band doesn't have a lot of money, but you know you trust the people and you know that they're going to profile you and that there's going to be some sort of give and take in a way where you can decide, okay, $500 a week is all that they can afford. But guess what? I get to open for them and I'm going to sell my merch and they're going to allow. So it's all about the negotiation and it's business. And so people just, once you learn that it's not just about how many hours you practice. Yeah, you do that. That's a default. We default, all of us know what practice is, right? So all of us also know now what the business is, but we don't learn that young enough. And that's such an important thing to have that balance of being competent, know your worth, but also get out there and play, do the job, and then make decisions that are sound, not just out of fear. Oh, if I say no, maybe no. That's not what it was. It's I say no because it doesn't feel right with me, because it doesn't make economic sense to me. I don't like these people, whatever. Or yes, it don't pay nothing, but it's going to be the best time of my life, and I get to do all these other things and benefit in other ways. So.